half in the bag.
Is Tamara here?
Tell me about it, sailor.
Well, Mike, October may be over, but that doesn't mean we have to stop communicating with spirits on our magic spirit board.
Oh, Jay, I communicate with spirits almost every night.
Oh, I get it. Like alcohol? Is that what you meant? Okay. Magic spirit board.
You can't do it by yourself.
Oh.
And
I don't want to get possessed.
I say we use this and try to...
Magic spirit board. Oh, no!
It's November now.
We're finally recovering from our Halloween best of the worsts, where one of us accidentally drank a whole bunch of high-volume beers. Remember the early scene when she goes into the shop?
Yeah.
And there's just and it goes on for like 5 minutes.
The high-pitched line.
We won't name names. This is a scene that happens in the movie. This is like the next 12 minutes of the film.
So this is our Halloween Hangover video, and it was originally a video about horror films in the theaters versus horror content on your TV screens.
Yes.
And it turned into a Halloween Hangover video because we started consuming more movies and shows that are horror related in the month of October, as you should.
Lots of, yeah, especially this year, lots of October horror stuff.
Right.
And ironically, it's the lowest October box office in 30 years. So that's the angle too, and it's a topic we've talked about before, the idea of movies in theaters versus releasing them to streaming versus a movie that should have been a streaming series and vice versa. We've talked about all this before, but we have lots of specific examples of things that have come out recently that we wanted to get into.
Yeah, and let's get right into it. Example one, to me, was, and kind of what kicked off this whole thing, was two things happened. I watched The Strangers Chapter 1. This was earlier in the year, or last year. I don't even know.
When the first chapter 1 came out?
Yeah, I think that came out in 2024.
I think so, yeah. Planned as a theatrical trilogy.
Well, see, that's the thing. Stop. That's what I didn't know. I had no idea, because The Strangers, the original movie, I think it's '08, and then they made a sequel, kind of. It was just The Strangers.
Pray at Night.
Sure. Just an unrelated sequel. And then it kind of went away. And then they rebooted Strangers Chapter 1. And of course it's called Chapter 1, so obviously it's going to be a Chapter 2, but I just watched it.
Right.
I'm look at this. I thought maybe it would have some other sequel or storyline, but then it just ends on the to be continued. And I was oh, okay. But then it
was terrible, right?
By terrible, if you mean it had been done already, because the first one, it's a classic case of the original movie is a simple, solid concept that works in its simplicity. There are numerous examples: Halloween, whatever, Jaws, even The Black Phone.
Yes, I was going to mention that.
Movies like that, where it's they don't really work as a sequel unless silly things start to happen, like Freddy Krueger movies, right? So the first one is the creepy part of it was these weird people in masks show up and they terrorize this couple. Was it Liv Tyler?
Yeah.
In the house.
Liv Tyler and Man.
And the reason is because you were home.
Yes, that's it.
And then this was kind of the same thing. The girl from Riverdale and Guy are in love, and they go to a house in the cabin in the woods, and the strangers come and they torture them and they harass them, and then it ends. And there's zero substance to it. And then Chapter 2 comes out, and these movies have 14% Rotten Tomatoes scores, and I mean, it probably did okay because of the name, the branding.
I don't know. I think it actually, because everything bombed in October, just about. So I don't think it did well at all, because there was such a negative reaction to the first one. The first one I think did okay, because it's oh, Chapter 1, intriguing. Where are they going to take this? And then there was nothing to it. And that's what I haven't seen Chapter 2. I haven't seen Chapter 1 either, but what actually made me more intrigued about Chapter 2 is I heard it described as having absolutely no substance whatsoever. I was like, wow, that's almost impressive that nothing happens.
Yeah, well, that's not entirely true. So the first one came out, and we'll throw up the box office returns, okay, just for fun. I don't know how much of a drop it was for the second one, because that factors into the overall topic of the fact that they made 3 of these movies, presumably all at the same time, which is sort of unusual, sort of new.
Unless you're Lord of the Rings, but this is not Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, or, you know, like, it's happened before where, like, Back to the Future 2 and 3. It's like the first one's just a monster hit. So it's like, yes, we're going to make 2 more of these. Let's just make them at the same time. Usually that doesn't happen from the get-go, although this is part of an established franchise. It's not a cold open.
I guess, but it's not like it's a huge it's not Halloween or something.
But the budget and the fact that it's horror and the fact that it's in theaters. So that's what we're going to get into today. But so I watched chapter 2, and yes, she wakes up in the hospital. Spoilers, the boyfriend gets killed in the first one. She wakes up in the hospital, and then the first, like, 45 minutes is her in the hospital. She's wandering around the hospital, you know, looking around, going from room to room. They kind of start stalking her, and then she goes from that point to a different point, goes to a different house.
I'm intrigued.
And they sprinkle in scenes in this diner where there's 2 cops and they're talking, and then the waitress at the diner's like, now what's going on down at the hospital? That girl didn't die? Oh, are you one of the strangers? Then they delve into the backstory of the strangers, and it's downright laughable. I think they were going for like a Michael Myers kind of thing, because they're kids on a playground, and the little girl gets her sandcastle knocked over. This is the origin of evil by the Mean Girls, right? And we're talking like 3rd grade.
Yeah.
And then one of the Mean Girls likes a boy that she likes, and then so girl stranger and man stranger, the guy with the sack on his head, they show them as kids, and man stranger, they shank the kid in like a little like shed on the playground, and then they do the smiley face and blood. So at age like 7, they've started their psychopathy of becoming the strangers, and they grow up, and so they kind of expose who they are.
Okay.
And then that ends on a cliffhanger. The question is, had it been successful, what a novel, brilliant plan to shoot 3 feature films and release them in, 3 parts.
With the substance of one movie, basically.
With the substance of one movie, which is essentially what a prestige television series is.
Although they stretch it out even more. 6, 7, 10 episodes where nothing happens.
I think they're just getting used to filming like tons of content.
Sure. But that's the intriguing thing about like those Strangers movies or some of the other stuff we're going to talk about, since October was so bad, everything mostly flopped. That idea that like horror is usually a safe bet. Blumhouse, they built their whole model on that, making movies for like $5 million, and they opened to whatever, $20 million, $30 million. But that's at least you've made some money. You don't put a movie in the theater to basically break even. So that's why you make these low budget horror movies. You make them so cheap that, especially in October, they're almost guaranteed to make money. But the weird thing is this year, none of them made money.
Why is that?
That's a good question. I think it does tie in with the streaming versus theatrical. Because if you look at the numbers of every year, up until 2020, I think the pandemic just like rewired everybody's brain. Because the 2 years, 2018 and 2019, were like massive years as far as like box office. They were really, really high up there, like some of the highest in history. And then after the pandemic, after 2020, look at 21, 22, it's all much, much lower than it was before the pandemic.
Well, I think there's a weird like merging. Part of this kind of came up too because I read that the final episode of Stranger Things, it's like 2 hours and 45 minutes long, the final episode, is going to be in theaters.
Right.
The same time they release it. And I'm just like, the season cost $970 million to produce.
Netflix is just burning money.
It's like 8 episodes, and each episode is an hour 45 plus. The second episode is like 2 hours and 18 minutes. The third episode is 3 hours 45 minutes.
Yeah.
The fourth, all to tell a story about how teamwork stops Vecna. how true friendship is the power you need to defeat Vecna.
Yeah. Netflix in particular, I don't know where all their goddamn money is coming from. Because they did that earlier this year, The Electric State, that movie from the Russos. Yeah. And it was like a $300 million budget. And people talked about it for like a week and said, hey, that movie sucked. And then everybody's moved on and nobody has thought about The Electric State since. And it's like, why dump all that money into a movie that is that disposable? Stranger Things is a known property now.
You gotta take risks.
Sure,
I mean,
but
Stranger Things will, like, it'll do great.
I guess
there's so many fans of that show.
That makes up for the fact that something like The Electric State doesn't make them any money.
Sure.
It all balances out, I
and
guess.
then they probably have cheaper shows to produce that also bring, it's a complicated model. It's almost too complicated for us to talk about. I'm curious to see, like, who will go to watch Stranger Things in theater.
It has some big fans. There's probably some people, enough to warrant the cost of putting it in theaters. I mean, I guess everything's digital now, so it's not as big of an investment.
Right.
But also, speaking of Netflix then, and kind of what we're talking about, October releases, stuff that went to theaters that maybe shouldn't, and vice versa, Netflix produced the Guillermo del Toro Frankenstein movie, which they put out in a couple of theaters ahead of its streaming release on Netflix. And that, to me, feels like a no-brainer to put out in theaters in October. Academy Award-winning director, everybody fucking knows Frankenstein. If there's a horror movie you're going to see in October in the theater, it seems like it would be a Frankenstein movie from a prestige filmmaker. And it's just like, I don't know, a dozen theaters.
Another, like, oh God, TV to movie to TV, the It franchise.
Yeah.
TV movies back in the 80s, then 2 feature films that were good but bloated and way too, like, much. And then we're like, It, the book would make for a great TV miniseries again.
Yes.
Where you do it exactly.
Follow the book proper, because that's both the TV movie and the theatrical movies do the same thing, where the first one's the kids, second one's the adults. When in the book, it's back and forth, back and forth.
You could, like, when the 80s one came out with, like, what was it, John Ritter and Tim Curry and everybody, it's like, well, okay, TV movie, 4 episodes, we're gonna put commercials, and we can only run it this time. It's not like streaming where it's just on a server and you can just watch it whenever.
Yeah.
It's like it has to air.
Yes.
And that was like totally a different model.
And it doesn't have to fit a time slot. Streaming shows now, you can have one episode that's 28 minutes, the next episode's an hour.
Yeah, and you could meticulously go through that book and film everything. Even if it's just the first season is the first, like, 30 pages of the book. Like, just keep going, you could make it forever. It's just a money train.
But now they can't do that because they already made the theatrical movies. But we want to keep this property alive, so we'll just start making up our own stuff, I guess.
I mean, which is fine because we both watched the first 2 episodes. Some nice twists. A nice twist in the first episode, without spoiling, and some really interesting, really kind of over-the-top, grotesque things.
Sure. I heard apparently people are making fun of the pickle scene where the girl's in the grocery store and she gets spooked by pickles. But in the context of the show, that's fine. It works completely when you know her backstory and what happened to her
Her
dad.
dad got ground up in a pickle machine.
It's goofy, but it's very like fantastical in the way like a Nightmare on Elm Street movie is.
And it feels very Stephen King-ish because the kids have weird, childlike, irrational fears. Like, you know, the kid with the inhaler and stuff like that, where it's like, the perspective is different for kids, and people tease her about the pickles. They put them in her locker and all that. But
yeah, I enjoyed the first 2 episodes, which is surprising because I really didn't like, especially that second movie.
Yeah, it was too over the top. And that's the thing is the movies, you crunch in 2 hours of monsters, spooky clowns scare me, and then this, it's like, okay, it feels like it's taking its time, and you know, as an elderly man, I appreciate that. Just don't do too much.
Yeah.
Make it nice and easy.
Yeah, we haven't even been introduced to Pennywise yet. 2 episodes
they've
in.
been teasing them.
They didn't put that in immediately.
Right. So that's going well.
So far.
No one who dies here ever really dies.
So far.
This is where people in a month say, well, that aged
That
well.
aged well. You guys said you'd like that.
It might turn to shit. Who knows? I don't like that movie, that second movie, so we'll see. But so far, as a series where you just have 1 or 2 crazy things per episode, and it's not like overindulgent, it's been good.
I saw a comment that said Andy Muschietti is the Alex Kurtzman of the horror world.
Oh.
And I said, oh, don't put that thought in my head, please. Please, get that out.
But Black Phone 2, we both watched that one, and that kind of goes into what we were talking earlier about the singular idea. Black Phone, the first movie, very good, based on a book that's a full story, a beginning, a middle, and an end, written by Stephen King's son, Joe Hill. And so that's the story. The story's done now. And so this movie felt a lot like the kind of classic 80s sequels of, well, what do we do now? All those like Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Friday the 13th 2, where you have that singular, Halloween 2, you have that one idea, and then it's like, well, how do we expand on this? Some convoluted stuff? It even opens with the classic 80s Universal logo, which was distracting because it's like, oh, okay, we're doing an old school type horror sequel. But then it cuts to that first scene, and it's the girl on the phone booth with the green screen lake behind her, and it looks so phony, and I was immediately taken out of it. It's like, this doesn't feel old school.
I mean, with all the retro film grainy dream sequences, it didn't help.
Yeah. I mean, overall, I thought the movie was okay, but as a sequel to that movie, and even as a full story, I didn't think it was particularly satisfying.
It felt... I mean, okay, my thoughts on it were, this is a weird movie. It felt very like dreamlike, and I felt sort of just like I was floating through the movie. And then, yeah, you're right. It's like the gimmick with the first one is that he's a kidnapped victim of a serial killer, and there's a weird black phone in the basement, and he picks it up. The ghosts of dead children talk to him.
But there's nothing supernatural about the villain.
No. That's the gimmick. And then so when you go to the second one, it becomes like a Freddy or Jason kind of movie where it's like, well, it's got to have a black phone in it.
And it's got to have Ethan Hawke in it, even though he's dead.
Sure. The 2 things that you don't need in the movie, you have to put in there. And so, well, how about there's a black payphone at a, winter kids camp, the mom, those are his original victims back in 1954.
That's the other thing too, is that they're trying to do this mystery where the little girl from the first movie, she's a little older now, we got both kids back, and now she's getting phone calls on the black phone, and she's seen visions of these 3 dead, or no, the brother sees the visions of the dead kids, right? But there's these 3 dead kids. Ooh, who are these mysterious dead kids? Well, your main villain is a child killer. It's probably related to him. There's no mystery there. So that was kind of distracting.
Well, I mean, then they added like the mother was killed by what do they call him? The grabber?
The grabber.
Back
Yeah, that's a
in the
little like
day.
retcon, very classic 80s trope.
Right. And, the location, it's like, oh, okay, it's different. They're
Oh
in
yeah,
a
I like
winterland.
the snowy lakeside.
Is that the one with the snow? Like when people go back and talk about it
Yeah,
later.
yeah.
So it had that retro vibe of kind of like cramming in story elements that would fit in a sequel, but without being particularly scary or I don't know.
And not a satisfying story. I was I wasn't engaged because unless I missed it, at no point in the movie, the little girl's the only one that's seen the grabber. She has these dreams, and her dreams are portrayed as like these kind of grainy 8mm footage.
Yep.
And so in her dreams, she sees the spirit of the grabber. And she's the only one that sees the spirit of the grabber. And very Nightmare on Elm Street-like, he's throwing her around. People in the real world are seeing her getting like tossed through the air. They don't see the grabber. Up until the last 15 minutes of the movie, unless I missed it, there's nothing in the movie to indicate that the grabber can affect anyone other than her. Because she's seen him in her dreams, so it's Nightmare on Elm Street. If he cuts her, she bleeds in real life. But there's no indication that he can affect anybody else. So it's like, what am I supposed to be scared of? Because nobody else is in danger except for her. But then the climax of the movie's on the lake, and the grabber's on ice skates, and he's running around, and now he's like cutting other people and throwing them around. I was like, oh, he can do that? He's only in her dream. Why can he affect other people?
If he could do that, why didn't he kill Finn?
Yeah, why didn't he do anything to anybody earlier?
He wanted to make Finn suffer by killing his sister.
Oh.
Like how he made him kill his own brother.
Okay.
With the axe in his head. So he wanted to get psychological revenge first before. So maybe the grabber could kill other people in the real world. He just chose to torment the sister to get at Finn.
But if that's the case, then you have to have him kill somebody early on. There has to be some sort of death or some sort of stakes where we realize that he can affect other people. Because that doesn't happen. And that's why I was like, well, I'm not scared because he can't affect anybody else. And then in the last 10 minutes of the movie, oh, I guess he can. It's just very distracting to me.
Yeah.
In a way where like Nightmare on Elm Street, it sets up its rules. You have a dream, you see Freddy in your dream, he kills you in the dream, you die for real.
Yeah, the rules are clear in the Freddy movies.
Yeah, it's very, even though they don't necessarily make sense, but they're established.
Do me a favor and go check out Shelby Oaks this weekend. It's opening October 24th. There are early showings on October 23rd. Obviously, I hope you enjoy the movie, but truthfully, my biggest hope is that people out there who see the film, someone, even just one person, later, 10 or 15 years from now, comes up to me and says, you know, I got a film made and your film inspired me to do so. That would be the greatest thing ever.
Riley Brennan is now missing. She was last seen in Shelby Oaks.
Should we talk about Shelby Oaks now?
Sure. It is a theatrically released movie.
This is, neither of us saw this movie.
Correct.
But it has been kind of it's another movie that came out in October, a horror movie that did not do particularly well. Technically made its budget back, but not much more than that. But it's been an interesting kind of social experiment.
Yeah.
To see the early reviews before the kind of more traditional, old school reviewers reviewed it. There was the early wave of like YouTuber reviews, and it was very fascinating. The backers of the movie, and then just other people that follow Chris Stuckman and his channel. Oh, YouTuber makes a movie. That's kind of the angle. But it was very fascinating to see so many YouTube critics find new and creative ways to walk on eggshells. That's what was my takeaway for the movie is not the movie, because I saw the trailer.
And I went on Amazon trying to purchase a pair of kid gloves, and I couldn't find any. They were all sold out.
And we don't have anything against Chris Stuckman. I don't know him. I have no connection to him in any way. But that was the angle that they were kind of seemed to be marketing the movie on. They put in like and I'm picturing like a general audience seeing the trailer where it's like from visionary filmmaker Chris Stuckman, and people being like, "Who's that?" Like a general audience, because those early wave of reviews were like, very positive. Rotten Tomatoes approved, whatever that is, when it's in the top like 95%.
Certified.
Certified fresh or whatever. But then once it actually hit theaters and the more traditional reviews came out, to watch that thing just drop. And then the movie comes out over opening weekend to see the audience score just drop. And then that was it. Like it made its budget back that opening weekend, dropped out of the top 10 or whatever after that. And I think to me, since our whole conversation is about theatrical versus streaming, that movie feels to me, and again, I haven't seen it, but it has that feeling of like, this would be a really great direct-to-shutter movie, direct-to-streaming movie. But I think they were kind of hoping that angle of like, YouTube reviewer makes a movie would bring in an intrigue an audience more than it actually did.
It wasn't just a YouTube reviewer makes a movie, it was the most funded Kickstarter for an indie horror film. And so you have that on there, and that's a selling point. And then Chris Stuckman is a very popular YouTube critic. He only has 2 million subscribers, which seems like if you're going to try to pull this stunt off, you need another 0 or 2 after that.
Sure.
I think right now it's worldwide just crossed over 4 million.
Okay.
And for 1,800 screens domestically, I think they're probably hoping for a opening weekend of 10, 15 million.
Again, comparable to like a Blumhouse thing. Where it's,
A typical Blumhouse movie.
Budget's 5 million, makes 10 million, 15 million, and then we're done. To me, and that's the thing, is like, I'm not gonna look at it like, oh, I have to support Chris Stuckman because he's a YouTube film. I just watched the trailer and I was like, this does not look intriguing. And then the title, we've kind of been goofing on the title because it sounds like a retirement home. It doesn't, there's nothing intriguing about it. About the entire movie, nothing really drew me in. It was like, oh, this looks creepy, or this is an intriguing like premise.
The cinematography looked great. I like ghost movies. I like that kind of horror. So I'll probably watch this when it comes out in streaming just to check it out. But the title and the name of the group called the Paranormal Paranoids, it's just, it all felt very silly to me. And that idea of ghost hunting groups, it feels very 2010. It feels a little dated, the found footage, the mini DV tape.
But the initial wave of reactions felt like it was less of a review of the movie and more, we should be happy for him that he made the movie.
When I was 14 years old, I saw a series of movies that made me want to make movies. It was Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, Spielberg's Minority Report, and M. Night Shyamalan's Signs. As soon as that camcorder arrived in the mail, I spent my entire teenage years making hundreds of short films and features with my friends.
Like an actual review of the movie was like the bottom of the list of priorities, which is not, in my opinion, not the way it should be.
In this whole phenomenon, the last thing is the movie.
Yeah.
And everything else surrounding it. And that was the marketing attempt.
This is really special to me. I am very proud of that because we live in a world where cinema is under attack.
I took some comments down.
Oh.
And some reviewer was like, gave it a bad review. And one of the comments stuck out to me, and it said, whether it's good or not, putting people off by urging them not to waste their time supporting theaters and original horror films for first-time directors because you didn't like their movie is the complete opposite of what we should be doing, don't you think?
He was saying that to a critic?
Yeah.
Whose job is to critique?
Who the critic said, don't waste your money and time watching this movie.
Okay.
And this person's response was, how dare you? We should be supporting theaters and original horror films for first-time directors.
Regardless of quality. As David Lynch always said, the movie's the thing.
So do me a favor, guys. Buy a ticket for Shelby Oaks this weekend. There's a lot of people on the crew of this movie who worked extremely hard, who will also benefit from you having bought a ticket.
Well, and the funny thing is it's extra ironic that people make comments like that now to somebody who up until now has made their living reviewing movies and has most likely not recommended movies in the past. Skip this movie because it sucks.
Yeah. Well,
That's the whole nature of reviewing.
He has also made short films and, you know.
Sure, but I'm just saying, like, he has a channel where he reviews films.
Yes.
I'm sure he's given bad reviews to movies in the past. So now
Sure.
to say, like, you shouldn't give his movie a bad review is very ironic to me.
It's all, yeah.
Most of us, especially on the indie side, are paycheck to paycheck and are struggling.
So there's people saying don't dare criticize this movie because you should be supporting theaters and original horror films by first-time directors. You should support neither unless they're good.
Yes.
Should you, I always have food analogies. You should support restaurants, especially a restaurant run by a first-time chef.
Their food is terrible, but...
Food is terrible, but you should support restaurants because restaurants exist as a place we all go to, and we all have shared experiences at restaurants. We go there for birthdays, whatever. Groups, we chat, we have great times. Restaurants are a very communal experience, and we should support someone that wants to become a chef and has their very first restaurant as a chef, even though their food isn't that great. How dare you give a bad food critic review to the restaurant because that chef, that's his first restaurant. Same kind of idea. The thing is that by promoting the movie that way, Neon is inviting that criticism back.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Chris Stuckman. I'm the writer-director of Shelby Oaks, and today I'm going to be reading letterboxd reviews that I wrote and guessing what film I was talking about.
Original movie made by a YouTuber. He self-funded the movie by Kickstarter, and he's a YouTube critic on blah, 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 blah. And if they just released the film, change the title.
Definitely change the title.
Shelby Oaks reminds me of Shelbyville from The Simpsons. Shelby is a silly sounding word.
I just put a rock in your crummy town.
Sounds like a gated community in Florida, or like a retirement home, a golf course. I don't know.
No.
But I would have called it like, searching for my dead sister. Nightmare at the haunted prison.
There you go.
I don't know.
That's
or
a great
a one-word title.
Sure. But a one-word title that's intriguing. I keep going back to Long Legs.
Yeah.
What is Long Legs?
Yeah.
Like, I think of spiders, of course, but it has a creepy sound to it. Or the monkey.
Weapons.
You see that weapons, yeah. That in combination with the poster, you're like, what is this?
Don't say a film by, just put it in the poster and release it.
Yeah. Well, that's what happened with they weren't YouTube critics, but they were YouTubers. The guys
Yeah.
who made Bring Her Back and Talk to Me. They just released them, and the movie survived on the strength, both of those movies, on the strength of them being very good movies. They have a positive word of mouth. Aside from the people that were already wanting to see Shelby Oaks because they like Chris Stuckman, that was kind of the start and end of it. There wasn't that positive word of mouth. It didn't catch on.
All right, guys, thank you so much for playing along. Go see Shelby Oaks in theaters.
Because nobody knows what a Shelby Oaks means.
To be honest, to be called a prick by RedLetterMedia in a video is kind of a compliment.
But that ties in with another movie, speaking of word of mouth, and like I was saying, this should have been like a Shudder original or whatever, Amazon Prime original streaming movie. A movie that got very positive word of mouth, or at least got people talking, is a movie called Match. And it's a Tubi original. Direct to Tubi.
He has his Papa's eyes.
And I watched it, and it came out in October. It's not great, but it has a couple moments that make you say, holy shit, you need to see this movie. It's crazy. And so that's a movie that I've seen a lot of people talking about and recommending. Obviously, it doesn't have the reach of like a Neon, a company like that. But just based on word of mouth, I heard about it, and I never would have, a Tubi original. So it's like the polar opposite. You have a direct-to-streaming movie that's very low budget, but has a hook, has an angle that had people talking and had people recommending it because it's memorable.
The interesting and, I don't know, regretful part of the whole Shelby Oaks thing is like, from what I've heard, it's not great. But you know, I've yet to see it, so I have to reserve judgment on that. But we have seen many great films. The King Tide, Neighborhood Watch, Dinner in America, Kid Detective, movies we haven't talked about Neighborhood Watch, but like,
yeah,
vanished, like barely any release, and then this movie gets 1,800 screens. Why? The gimmick.
There's an angle, yeah.
But the gimmick was also, it was a double-edged sword, apparently, because I think the roll of the dice was that people will flock out to see this movie based on the fact that a YouTuber made it or whatever.
And it's a horror movie in October.
And it's a horror movie in October, which almost always is a guaranteed success. Even if it has a 14% Rotten Tomatoes score, like the Strangers, I still think that went into 10 million, 15 million plus.
I mean, if you have 3 movies shot all at the same time with the budget of one movie, because it's basically one movie stretched out, it probably wasn't much to make.
That model is going to come back.
Yeah, I think the only movie theatrically that did well recently was The Conjuring, if we want to go into that.
Yeah, did you watch that?
I did not watch it. The Conjuring Last Rites.
It was great.
Oh.
St. Michael, defend us. Be our safeguard against the devil.
But they've basically been selling this recent one as like it's called Last Rites. The last one, kind of, with an asterisk. But the last one with Vera Farmiga and Patrick Wilson. But before the movie came out, I heard there was like a flashback to those characters when they were younger. And immediately the cynical part of my brain said, oh, I know what they're doing. They're going to keep making these movies. They mean this is the last one with those two, because those two actors are expensive. Now we can bring in a younger version of them and keep cranking this shit out.
I mean, the movie did well, though, right?
Yeah, it did well.
The movie, I really liked it. It takes place at the end. It says it's their final case, because they're older. And it's about, like, there's actually a pretty quality storyline to it about, like, I don't want to say passing the torch, but getting older and focusing more on their family, because their daughter is grown up and she gets engaged to the famous son-in-law.
Good evening, and welcome to another edition of Seekers of the Supernatural. I'm your moderator, Tony Spera.
At this point, I view the movies as complete fiction.
Yeah, you have to.
99% fiction. Because there was a real-life family in Pennsylvania called the Smurl family, and they had this haunting and blah, 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 blah.
That's what the new movie's about?
Yeah.
That family?
Yeah, and you know, there's video footage of them being interviewed, and the press got involved, and well, our house is haunted. And
That's basically, and then I was missing a white shirt, which was gone for about a year. That has never returned, okay? But
that table fell over, the chair, and then, of course, in the movie, there's an outrageous scene where this haunted mirror is like smashing through the house and spinning around in the air and shooting blood out. And it doesn't get as crazy as the one with the witch or the nun.
Oh yeah,
that's
the second one.
And the house explodes and there's like a light that shines up into space and ghosts fly out, and you know, it doesn't get outrageous.
Okay.
And it keeps it pretty tame, and it focuses on the characters, and there's a lot going on, and it was entertaining, and then at the end, and it's like, it has the credits, you know, the Smurl family moved out of that, and I just laughed out loud. So I'm like, this is silly. It's fiction.
Sure.
It's outrageous. They went there and they looked around, and then they left. All this other stuff is total nonsense.
Thank you very much, both of you, for your interview this afternoon.
We cast you out, every unclean spirit!
This is the closet area and especially in the back of this closet. The last room up here is, of course, the bathroom. There has been a great deal that has occurred in here. It is in this area that Jack's medical bracelet had been missing from.
But the opening is a flashback to when their daughter's being born. And you have two actors playing the young Ed and Lorraine Warren. The guy who plays Ed Warren is like a fucking dead ringer for Patrick Wilson.
Oh.
It's shocking. I thought it was a de-aged Patrick Wilson.
I would suggest for the young Vera Farmiga, they should have got her sister, who's like 20 years younger than her, but she's already in those nun movies, I think.
Yeah.
So they can't use her.
What's her name?
Tessa Farmiga? Tessa Farmiga?
Yeah. But at the end, this ties in with the overall theme, because at the end, you're right. Ed Warren has a conversation with his son-in-law, and he's like, you're going to be your final case? He's like, yeah, time to get old and settle down. He's like, how many cases have you had? He's like, oh, thousands.
And he looked right in the camera.
Yeah, and I'm like, money started falling from the ceiling. And I was like, okay, well, you have two options. You could take these two young actors and, make a Conjuring movie that takes 3 years to make, and then make another one 4 years later, and they're just going to be aging the whole time and maybe getting other roles that make them more expensive.
Yeah.
Or you could take some of those thousands of cases and make 9-10 episodes of a Conjuring series.
Yeah.
What would be the best course of action, which would be more profitable? Who knows?
Yeah. To me, it seems like, almost like an X-Files. Every episode is a different case. That would make sense, and it's Warner Brothers, so that would be on HBO Max, I guess.
The Conjuring series, maybe that's what they're going to do.
Well, now they announced they're making a movie with those two. They're just making a movie. To me, it seems like the perfect route to go now. We're done with the Conjuring movies. This is the last time for those two actors. Now you take a different approach, and you make a series. To me, creatively, that seems like it would be the route to take, but they're just making another movie.
So it's been a not so spooky October.
It's been spooky for the studios.
Is it that bad, Jay? I don't follow this that much.
The lowest box office in 30 some years.
Yeah, but this is an overall box office. It's not just horror movies.
No, just October box office.
Because other movies come out in October that aren't.
But that's the thing, is nothing in October did well.
Yeah.
There's some sort of romantic comedy movie that came out nobody saw.
That's always number one on the list.
Yeah. But this is what I'm saying. I think something about the pandemic made people realize that they don't need to go to the theater.
I really think it will make a massive difference if you guys can do that.
So, Jay, what movies are you looking forward to next?
Oh, God. None? Can I say none?
They're making that Magic 8-Ball movie, apparently.
That's a real thing. Jokes are now real.
I know.
We can't joke about stuff, because then it just happens.
Here's my joke. I'm going to say it now.
Okay.
And we'll see if it happens. It's the stupidest thing I could think of.
All right.
Taco Bell the movie, or along the same lines, McDonald's the movie. I don't know if you'd have Ronald McDonald and those characters.
I don't think those are even a thing anymore.
I think they're not official anymore.
Those are gone, yeah.
Or just a movie that has a McDonald's and everyone loves going to it.
Sure.
Or Taco Bell.
I think Taco Bell would be more viable. Then you'd bring in all the stoners. Yeah. All the youths.
Is that too close to Harold and Kumar go to White Castle?
Oh, it could be a reboot of that.
Okay.
Son of Harold and Kumar, go to Taco Bell. There's your movie.
No, see, that had character. How about just Taco Bell the movie?
Okay.
And it's just about a Taco Bell. And people work at Taco Bell and they just enjoy making quality products.
Is it a haunted Taco Bell?
No, there's no...
What was that, Sausage Fest? Was that the movie? The animated movie with all the food products?
Oh, yeah, talking food.
You just do that.
Okay, so we're thinking Taco Bell the movie would be more like the chalupa escapes through the drive-through window, and all the friends have to go find him.
Sure.
Right? They all have to use their own special powers.
Yeah.
They squirt like Taco Bell hot sauce packets to like slip up the bad guys that are chasing them. Stoners want to eat them.
Oh, sure.
The chalupa ends up in like a frat house.
Oh no, that's the worst place for a chalupa.
Towards the end of the night, after everyone's like hungry and stoned.
Yeah.
The chalupa's in trouble. But they can't give away their secret, that they're alive.
That they're alive?
I suppose it's like Toy Story, but with Taco Bell products.
Isn't that every kid's movie?
You know.
It's a thing, but it's live. That's every children's film.
Yeah, well, so is this going to be a children's film or a raunchy, like, sausage party-esque comedy?
No.
Because...
Well, those don't... Oh, you're falling asleep as you talk.
No. This is good. So, what, like the hard shell taco versus the soft shell taco?
Yeah.